The governor says this is a national security crisis, and he has a better idea of what's going on now that he's seen it for himself. But some critics say they wish he'd focus more on what's happening here in Tennessee. Governor Bill Lee paying a visit to Tennessee National Guardsmen stationed at the border. Governor Lee says 300 Tennessee soldiers have been working there for about a year on a federal mission.
Our folks in the National Guard are not involved in apprehension. They're simply involved in providing information to the Customs and Border Patrol, and that agency provides or does apprehension.
In a conference call following the trip, the governor says he wants to see a national strategy to address what he says is a surge of people crossing the border. After seeing the troops yourselves, is there any ideas you have or any changes you'd like to see to help with the crisis, as you call it?
One of the things I want to do is talk to other governors, particularly border governors. I want to be a part of the national conversation that goes on, just because now that I've seen it, I recognize that this is not a political problem. This is truly a problem for our country. The trip met by criticism by some, including the Southern Christian Coalition, that calls the visit a way to gain political points while more pressing issues are happening on Tennessee soil. What's your response to those who call this political theater and not the best use of Tennessee tax dollars for your trip to go down and see it yourself? Well, we have 300 men and women from Tennessee that are serving this country on the border in our National Guard. That is a top priority from my perspective.
But the visit is receiving support from Republican lawmakers, including Senator Bill Hagerty, who also wants to see changes at the border.
They're not trying to secure our border. They're trying to accelerate the processing of illegal immigrants coming into our nation.
The mission for the Tennessee troops expires this fall.
This is the memo Dr. Fiscus read just minutes before I sat down with her. The letter contains several allegations, but Dr. Fiscus continues to stand by the work she's done.
Dr. Michelle Fiscus is the state's former top vaccine leader. Health department leaders fired her this week. She says they terminated her because she was encouraging outreach for vaccinating children, which the state stopped for all vaccines. A memo we received through a formal records request through the Department of Health cites different reasons. I took the letter from Dr. Jim Jones, the chief medical officer for the state's Department of Health, directly to Dr. Fiscus.
Dr. Fiscus's failure to maintain good working relationships with members of her team, her lack of effective leadership, her lack of appropriate management, and unwillingness to consult with superiors and other internal stakeholders. What is your response to that?
You could talk to anyone across the state who works in public health about how I conducted myself, how I managed this program, and you could talk to the governor himself, who commended me on multiple occasions in meetings with him.
They mentioned, these meetings in February and March. Do you recall these meetings happening at all about other employees, treatment of employees?
There are elements of truth in what I read there. I mean, this was obviously a very stressful time, and we were all trying to figure out how to manage this program. I know the individuals that are referred to in that letter. I don't think they would agree with what has been written in that letter.
Dr. Jones suggests Dr. Fiscus shared a letter about vaccinating minors without reviewing it with leadership and legal counsel.
With an email from the general counsel saying this is public facing, this has been blessed by the governor's office, and you may share this in any way that you see fit.
I have copies of Dr. Fiscus's evaluation report right here, which date back to 2016. There doesn't seem to be any performance issues noted.
New data from the Department of Labor shows the largest weekly spike in unemployment in months, with 9,400 new claims filed just last week. Fox 17 News' Jackie Del Pilar is live downtown this evening. Jackie, these new claims are more than triple the numbers from before the pandemic.
Maggie, that's right. And this also comes just 2 weeks after Governor Lee ended federal unemployment benefits for Tennesseans. Without those benefits, Tennessee is losing out on about $500 million being fueled into our economy. More than 9,000 Tennesseans in just 1 week now without a job. The latest data from the Department of Labor shows weekly unemployment claims are the highest they've been in 3 months. Concerning, says State Senator Heidi Campbell.
Despite what the governor is saying, our economy is still shedding jobs at an alarming rate.
People can only apply for unemployment if they've lost a job through no fault of their own, meaning they were recently laid off. Senator Campbell says she continues to hear from families struggling to pay their bills and find a decent job.
Absolutely inarguable that jobs are not back, and that with the highest spike that we've had in the last 3 months, this is just another sign that our economy is not normal.
I reached out to the governor's office to ask what's being done to help. A spokesperson tells me Tennessee's economy continues to recover from pandemic loss. Statewide unemployment decreased in June, now at 4.9% versus May's 5%. And more than 22,000 people returned to the workforce in June. She also provided a list of resources to help find jobs, including the state job board jobsfortn.gov, where 200,000 plus jobs are listed right now. But most of those are low wage and not located in rural areas.
There are not good jobs available. And as we can see from this spike last week, there are actually people who are laying off employees.
Senator Campbell and other state Democrats are calling on the governor to reinstate the federal benefits to help support families in need.
Not everybody over there is a criminal. It's just that simple.
I think they're breaking the law. I'm sorry.
Certainly they're breaking the law being in the park.
A group of West Nashville residents, city leaders, and the Homeless Impact Division coming together to talk about a means to a solution.
Officer Ben Cantrell here is our quality of life officer. He goes down there every single day that he's working.
Despite efforts on the police department and city's end, many people say they fear for their safety near the Brookmead Park area.
I've got 2 kids under 3. That's the closest park to our house. I'm a taxpayer. Why should their ability, and homelessness is not a crime, but being there, according to our state and our local legislature, is.
City Council member Dave Rosenberg, whose district covers the homeless camp, did not attend the recent meeting, saying he attended other meetings that night. He says the growing homeless situation is a result of a lack of affordable housing and mental health support.
They're saying that they can't use the Greenway. For people who live in your district, what do you say to them?
I understand their frustration. If I think that there are some folks who just say, well, just kick everybody out of there. And then if you do something like that, then not only is that inhumane, but folks need to go somewhere.
Rosenberg says having those who are homeless in one space makes it easier to get services to people and eventually into housing. This also the goal of Judith Tackett, director of the Homeless Impact Division.
Our community and nonprofits really work very hard.
But for now, this is what Rosenberg suggests.
It's a matter of asking everybody to roll up their sleeves and be helpful.
Now, the executive director of Shower the People, a local nonprofit, spoke at the meeting calling on people to invest in low-income housing. Tackett, who you heard from there in the story, adds they are continuing to address the situation with the help of coordinated efforts, CARES Act dollars, and landlords.